принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции. Ее цель – защита людей, которые на протяжении 8 лет подвергаются издевательствам, геноциду со стороны киевского режима.
On February 24, 2022, Russia's invasion of Ukraine prompted millions in Ukraine to flee their homes. Though the reasons may not be identical, many Russians decided to leave their lives behind as well. Unwilling to live in the shadow of a crusade they didn't believe in, Russia's invasion of Ukraine pushed many Russians to the brink. Endless international sanctions on Russia, compounded with moral conflict, culminated in the perfect storm for Russians to leave.
The initial original plans weren't such a big hurry. We wanted to come to Israel to see if it would be possible, how we'd feel about living here, and whether or not we wanted to stay. And this was meant to be when our daughter would already be 6 months or 8 months, so that she would grow up a little. But when the war began, we realized that there was nothing to wait for, and we needed to leave as soon as possible. And so as soon as we received the documents, we immediately left.
Many left for personal reasons, finding it impossible to keep on pretending they were okay with the country's rising authoritarianism. Others left for economical reasons, finding it extremely difficult to make a living under the suffocating pressure of US and European sanctions. Whether the reasons were politically driven or financial, Russia was now seeing its largest mass exodus since the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 and the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1989. In September 2022, a mandatory military draft sent another round of Russians fleeing out of the country.
Призыву на военную службу будут подлежать только граждане, которые в настоящий момент состоят в запасе. И прежде всего те, кто проходил службу в рядах вооруженных сил, имеет определенные военно-учетные специальности и соответствующий опыт.
The announcement prompted mass hysteria as crowds rushed to Russia's different borders, hoping to escape conscription into the army, with reports of around 700,000 Russians fleeing. After dropping everything to get out of Russia on September 21st, Dmitry, whose name was changed for this report, is now settled in Montenegro. He asked not to reveal his identity to keep his family in Russia as safe as possible.
The only possibility was for me to get to Novosibirsk, where my friend lives. So he picked me up at the airport in Novosibirsk and took me to the border of Kazakhstan. So it took 6 hours to drive there. And then it took 7 hours to cross the border. And then again 5 hours to get to the Astana.
Sergei, whose name was also changed for his safety, spoke to I-24 News from Russia. He left for financial reasons, but returned to Russia just a couple of weeks later.
I was afraid that all the borders will be closed. And here in Russia, we have lots of problems with financial things, with bank transfers, and especially it hurts freelancers, stock photographers, designers, and musicians as I am.
A similar situation occurred for Kirill, who would not agree to be interviewed on camera, though he explained in a lengthy email that due to his wife's pregnancy, they unwillingly returned to Russia after fleeing to Kazakhstan for a couple of months. And another was simply too afraid to speak about his own experience, no matter how far he had fled, citing his own family's cries for safety in Russia. Caught between the crossfires of Russian pride and shame, patriotism is a difficult topic for some.
I feel that I am patriotic. It's just that the Russian propaganda stole this word from regular people. And this propaganda says that a patriot is whoever claims Putin is our great president. But I feel like they robbed this word of its true meaning. True patriotism for me is wanting Russia to be a normal country, not kill neighbors, not kill civilians in neighboring countries, that everything should be good in Russia and that everyone should have a better life there.
For me, this word is a very strong word. I don't think that I can say that I feel patriotic. I'm disappointed in many ways. I'm not even sure of the word that I would use, but of course I want everything in Russia to be better, for there to be a normal political system to end the war.
For us, a good outcome doesn't only mean the end of the war and a victory for Ukraine, but also the end of the Putin regime. That's when everything will be good in Russia, to have the current Russian regime fall.
With little to no hope for political change in Russia amid intensifying authoritarianism from Putin's regime, there's little Russians can do besides voting with their feet.